Mary's world came crashing down as her body hit the hard ground with a deafening thud. The pain was excruciating, leaving her breathless and unable to scream. For a fleeting moment, the world around her fell silent. Was this the end of her story? Mary's journey began in a small village where life was a constant struggle. As a 32-year-old single mother of three, she had endured unimaginable hardships. After her husband abandoned them, Mary was left to provide for her children alone. They lived in a cramped, leaky shack in a crowded slum, where some days she couldn't afford enough food for her kids. Despite the overwhelming challenges, Mary never lost hope. She dreamed of a better future, where her children could attend a good school and live in a proper house. Every night, after tucking her little ones into bed, Mary would whisper prayers for a miracle. Determined and hard-working, Mary washed clothes for neighbours and sold fruit in the market. However, no matter how hard she worked, the money disappeared quickly, and bills continued to pile up. There were times when she felt hopeless, but the bright smiles of her children kept her going. One fateful afternoon, Mary received exciting news from a friend. The friend's cousin had worked abroad and returned with enough money to build a new house. The cousin had been helped by an agent who found jobs for women overseas. Mary's eyes lit up with interest. A job abroad seemed like the golden opportunity she had been praying for. When Mary met the agent, he painted a rosy picture of her future. He promised her a well-paying job as a housemaid for a wealthy family in Saudi Arabia. The salary was enormous, and Mary envisioned a better life for her children. However, Mary's mother was cautious. As they prepared dinner together, her mother expressed concerns about the job. Mary had also heard stories about the dangers of working abroad, but she pushed aside her doubts. She couldn't let fear stop her from providing a better life for her children. With a mix of excitement and nervousness, Mary made the difficult decision to take the job. She promised her mother she would be careful, but inside she was torn. Was she making a mistake, or was this truly the answer to her prayers? Over the next 2 months, Mary worked with the agent to prepare all the documents she needed. It was a whirlwind of paperwork, training sessions, and trips to government offices for a passport and medical checks. Each step made it feel more real. She practiced a few words of Arabic the agent taught her and learned about Saudi customs. With every passing day, Mary's excitement grew. She told her children about the adventure Mama was going to take. "I will go work in a big city called Riyadh," she explained, pointing to the location on an old map she'd found. "And I'll send money so you can go to school and eat well. I will be back before you know it, and I'll be bringing presents." The kids didn't fully, but they hugged her and said they wanted her to come back soon. Her youngest gave her a ragged little doll to keep Mama safe on the journey. Mary smiled and fought back tears as she packed it in her bag. The day of departure arrived all too quickly. Mary stood at the airport with her small suitcase. It held a few clothes, a family photo, and all the hope she had for the future. She wore her best dress, a simple blue frock that was a bit worn but neat. Humanize it. Mary's journey, a mother's sacrifice. As the days turned into weeks, Mary's anticipation grew. She had spent the last 2 months preparing for a journey of a lifetime, one that would take her away from her children but would ultimately give them a better life. Mary knelt down, her children clinging to her legs as she kissed each one of them tenderly. "Be good for Grandma," she whispered, her voice laced with a mix of sadness and determination. "Mama is going to make money for all of us. I will call as soon as I can, okay? I love you so much." The airport scene was heart-wrenching. Mary's younger children sobbed softly, while her eldest, a teenager on the cusp of manhood, struggled to hold back tears. Mary's mother, her eyes brimming with emotion, placed a reassuring hand on Mary's shoulder. "May God protect you, Mary," she said, her voice trembling. "Come back to us safely." As Mary hugged her mother tightly, she inhaled the familiar scent of wood smoke and warmth. She was trying to be strong, but the weight of her decision threatened to overwhelm her. With a final wave goodbye, Mary stepped through the airport gate, leaving behind the only life she had ever known. As the plane soared into the sky, Mary felt a mix of emotions: sadness at leaving her family behind, but also hope for the new beginning that awaited her. She had never been on a plane before, and the sensation of flight was both exhilarating and terrifying. As she gazed out the window, Mary watched as her country dwindled into the distance. The clouds below looked like giant cotton balls, and for a moment she felt a sense of wonder and awe. "This is it," she whispered to herself, clutching the armrest tightly. "I'm really going. I'm going to make a better life for all of us." As the plane flew on, Mary allowed herself to daydream. She imagined arriving in a modern city, its skyscrapers glinting in the sunlight. She pictured a kindly employer welcoming her into their home, offering her a chance to start anew. But for now, Mary was trapped in a bittersweet moment, torn between the life she was leaving behind and the uncertain future that lay ahead. As the plane flew on, Mary's tears fell silently, a poignant reminder of the sacrifices she was making for the people she loved. Mary stepped off the plane in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, with a mix of emotions: excitement, nervousness, and a hint of uncertainty. The scorching heat hit her like a wave, but her determination to build a better life for her family kept her moving forward. As she clutched her small bag, Mary's thoughts drifted back to her loved ones. She imagined her children's smiles, their laughter, and their bright eyes shining with hope. She pictured her family living in a comfortable home, free from the struggles of their current life in the slum. Mary's dreams were big, but she was ready to work hard to achieve them. She planned to send money back home every month to support her family and eventually start her own small business, a clothing boutique. As she navigated the bustling airport, Mary's senses were overwhelmed. The unfamiliar language, the traditional robes, and the sleek airport surroundings made her feel like a small boat in a stormy sea. But then, a man approached her, holding a sign with her name. He represented the agency's Saudi partner and spoke in broken English. "Mary?" he asked, his voice firm but polite. Mary nodded, trying to hide her apprehension. The man motioned for her to follow, and they made their way through immigration and collected her luggage. As they walked, the man spoke rapidly on his phone in Arabic, leaving Mary to wonder what was being said. She tried to smile and be polite, but a growing sense of unease settled in the pit of her stomach. Despite the uncertainty, Mary held on to her dreams, her heart filled with hope and determination. She was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that a better life for her family was within reach. As the large black car sped away from the airport, Mary's eyes widened in awe. The glittering Riyadh skyline stretched out before her, a dazzling array of towering buildings and neon lights. She pressed her face against the window, drinking in the sights and sounds of this foreign land. The excitement she'd felt earlier began to stir again, mixed with a sense of wonder. This was really happening. She was starting a new life in a place she'd only ever dreamed of. As they drove through the city, Mary marveled at the upscale neighborhoods, where grand villas loomed behind high walls. The houses seemed like palaces compared to her humble shack back home, multi-story mansions with ornate gates and lush gardens peeking out from behind tall fences. She felt like she'd entered a different world. Finally, the car pulled up in front of a stunning cream-colored mansion. Stay tuned for the part 2 of this intriguing, heart-touching and interesting story at Timeless African Tales, and do well to subscribe for more stories.